Hey there, how you doing? Tim Warner here. I'd like to teach you in this lesson how to protect your cloud drive in Azure Cloud Shell. As you can see on your screen right now, I'm logged into the Azure portal and I have the Cloud Shell up and running. Looks like I'm focused on my home directory. Remember that we can get a sanity check of exactly where our cloud drive is located in our subscription by running the commandlet get cloud drive. We can see that my file share is called Tim Cloud Share and the storage account is TLW Cloud STG 101. That's good. So the idea is over time, as you're using your cloud drive more and more and more, you'll be doing things like, for instance, going to the PowerShell gallery to find modules. Maybe you're interested in looking for something that uses zip files. So you could do something like this. And then when you find the module that you're interested in, you could do an install module, you can do an install script. Remember, the great value proposition of Cloud Shell is that it's with you wherever you are in the world. If you can get into the Azure portal, you can open up your Cloud Shell and you can get to your cloud drive. We can also, let me do an ls. Looks like we've got a script file in my home folder. And then if I go into my cloud drive folder and again do a directory listing, I have a couple PowerShell scripts in there. You can upload scripts and other artifacts into your cloud drive using the toolbar, or we could go to Manage File Share. That'll take us directly to that share in the storage account, lickety-split. So as I was saying, as you're building out your environment in your cloud drive, you want to take steps to protect it. You see, as of this recording in summer 2019, Azure File Share Backup is in public preview. You see this banner. I could click this to go immediately to the Recovery Services Vault, or I could create one if I don't already have one. I have some good news and some bad news when it comes to protecting your cloud share. The good news is that at least we've got this Recovery Services Vault snapshot backup in public preview. The bad news is it's not fully baked, at least in my humble opinion, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about when I finish the configuration. For now, what we'll do is jump over to the Storage Accounts blade, and let's take a look at my storage account that has my cloud share in it. What can we do to protect or preserve that share? I mean, if we go into the Files service, we have the share here. It's true that you can do access control IAM to do role-based access control against your storage account. That's certainly the case. But if a fellow administrator or developer has contribute at the storage account scope, then they could easily come over to your share and delete it. Well, what can you do to protect against that? Well, you might think, well, what about the snapshots option? I can, for instance, open the context menu, view snapshots, and if I don't have a backup snapshot, I can add one, and I can add another. And these are point-in-time backups of all the contents of that file share, and that's certainly true. But remember I said that there's some bad news. If I open this ellipsis and go to delete share, it says that the following snapshots will be deleted along with the share. I'm hoping personally that Microsoft is going to uncouple the snapshots from the file share, but right now it looks like there's a hard dependency. So if we proceed with this deletion, all of our backups will go away with it. So what I'm going to just go ahead and do right off the top is suggest that if you have need to back up your file share, I recommend you use AZ copy along with the Azure automation service and just go ahead and back up your file shares to another storage account. Because what I'm showing you here is cool. As long as nobody touches the file share, you're okay. If you lose individual contents of that share, like if I were to just delete this AD replication PS1 file, I can show you how to bring that back. But as far as resurrecting the whole share once the share's been deleted, it's a problem. Okay, so back to the overview page of the storage account, we want to take a look at the location that the storage account is in. It looks like in my case, it's South Central US. If we're going to do automatic snapshot backups, we're going to need to create or use a Recovery Services Vault that's in the same region. As you see, I already have one that's in the South Central US, so I'm going to use Tim Vault, and we'll come down under Getting Started, Backup. We'll specify that our workload is in Azure, and we want to back up a file share. Again, public preview means that the feature is not finished, and it therefore is not bound by any official Microsoft support plan or also service level agreement. Let's click Back Up to proceed. We first, obviously enough, need to select the storage account. Click OK to continue, and next we'll select the appropriate file share, of which there may be many in that storage account. In this case, I'm using Tim Cloud Share, so I'll select it and click OK. Here we can use an existing file share backup policy if we have one. Otherwise, we'll create a new one. Backup daily at I'll use my local time zone, which in my case is -6 Central Time, and then we can adjust the retention. I'll leave that alone 30 days. All right, we'll finish this configuration by enabling backup. And once that finishes in the notification menu, let's dismiss all of my completed tasks. We'll be ready to take our first backup. While we're waiting, there's other cool things we can do in Cloud Shell. Let's bring Cloud Shell in. I don't know if you knew this, but there's a whole bunch of tools included in the Cloud Shell environment, including Git. So this means, for instance, we can do a clone if we're working with a shared code base. I'm going out to one of my repositories on GitHub here, and let me click the clone URL, put it into my clipboard, right mouse click, and select paste to paste that URL in. And now I can bring my Crash Course repo into my cloud drive. And I just want to keep repeating that although the container that you're in is ephemeral, your cloud share is persistent. Just by way of review, in case you might have forgotten or not watched my other video, where I teach you about how the Cloud Shell cloud share works under the hood, is that in your Cloud Shell, you've got the Cloud Share folder. And anything you save in that Cloud Drive folder, not Cloud Shell, Cloud Drive, sorry about that. That Cloud Drive folder gets persisted here, anything we upload into here and so on. But the actual environment is your home directory. Again, let me bring up the Cloud Shell. I'm in my Cloud Drive folder right here, but if I go up one level with cd ... that's my home folder, and that does not show up in the portal here. Your home folder is virtualized into this hidden .cloud console folder. It's a 5 GB image called acc_username.img. And that 5 gig image is what gets unpacked into a container whenever you start a new Cloud Shell session. Okay, so let's open the notifications. Our deployment succeeded. So let's go back to our Recovery Services Vault. TIM Vault shows up under my recent list in the search. And if we come down now under Protected Items, Backup Items, we see we have one Azure Files backup item. Let's go into there. The last backup status shows initial backup pending. So we're going to either wait until the first scheduled backup run, or we can do an ad hoc backup, which is what I'll select right now. So let's go into it and select Backup Now. We can override the policy default for retention, or we can click OK to proceed. As far as tracking backup jobs, that's easy to do. Let's use the breadcrumb navigation trail to come back to our Recovery Services Vault and scroll down under Monitoring, Backup Jobs. And these will be in reverse chronological order. Looks like that backup completed very quickly indeed. Now, where can you get to your backups? You can find them in a couple spots. The main spot, though, is, again, under Backup Items. If we go to Protected Items, Backup Items, we've got our Azure Files backup, and then if we select it, we've got two options here, Restore Share and File Recovery. Note those well. Those are really cool options because Restore Share allows us to bring back the entire share. Let me just show you while I'm here. You're given a list of restore points. These are snapshots that Recovery Services Vault is storing, either ones that you've created ad hoc like the one we did, or ones that are defined in your backup policy schedule. I'll select the only one I have. Click OK. And your options are to either overwrite your existing share if there's conflicts and place the share in its original location. There's also a skip option in case of conflicts. Or you can restore to an alternate location, which could be useful if at least some of the existing source share is there and you just want to pluck individual items from it. But honestly, I'm about to show you a way where you can tap into your share and grab individual items without having to restore the entire share to an alternate location. Let's back out of here. And the file recovery option, you, of course, first select the restore point that you want to dip into. And then in there, again, you've got recovery destination, original, and then you can overwrite or skip if there's a conflict, or specify an alternate location. Like I said, it can be a different storage account, different share, different folder. But then check this out. When we go to select file, isn't this cool? Now you can go into the snapshot and individually restore individual assets, including your home folder in that .cloud console hidden folder. That is pretty cool, isn't it? So you may be thinking, Tim, this is awesome. We can put our cloud share on a backup schedule, and then we can restore it in whole or in part at any time. Why were you saying that there's good news and bad news with this at the beginning of your video? Well, let me address that for you right now. Let's come back to the storage account again. Pop in there, go to the file service, and let's pretend that we quote-unquote accidentally are going to delete my TIM cloud share. As I showed you before with snapshotting, the snapshots ride herd in a dependency fashion with the file share. But at least we get this sanity check. I've tested this, and unfortunately it will proceed. If I type the name of the file share down here and hit OK, it will in fact nuke the file share, and the recovery services vault will act like it can restore stuff, but because there's a hard dependency between the snapshot and the original file share, the restore fails, even if you try to go to an alternate location. So this again, hopefully will be addressed by Microsoft. This feature is still in preview, but you need to know about it now if you're in midsummer 2019. So we don't want to delete the file share. How can we protect the file share against accidental deletion? Well, that's kind of difficult. Like I said, on one level, there's access control IAM or role-based access control. Another is the concept of the resource lock, but that's not going to help the file shares. The resource lock you can place at the storage account level, and that'll protect the storage account against accidental deletion, but it won't prevent deletion of the file share. Now, you notice that Azure Backup Protection, what's this called? It's hard to see the full name here. Azure Backup Protection Lock. When you associate a storage account with a recovery services vault, Azure puts a lock at the storage account that prevents you from deleting the storage account. So that's a nice level of protection. But you need to start thinking, I submit, of different ways to back up and synchronize possibly your file share. Now, if you've ever heard of Azure File Sync, that's one possibility, but I'm going to leave you with this one. I found this article from very late 2018. The post is called AZ Copy Sync as a Backup Solution, and I realized I actually know the author from Pluralsight. It's funny how often I wind up reading a helpful blog post, and it turns out to be somebody I know, fellow author at Pluralsight or a Microsoft MVP. But anyway, Matthew goes through on how to use AZ Copy not only to back up your storage accounts, but to use the newest version of AZ Copy that has some synchronization capabilities built into it. In fact, let me know in the comment section because I'd be happy to record another YouTube video that walks you through how to configure that specifically. So that brings us to the end of the road. Thanks a lot for joining me. I look forward to interacting with you soon. Take care.